in Sweden, unfortunately, has been a bit of a disappointment so far from what we see, because the changes that we're now seeing actually as of tomorrow on that market are not based on facts, or at least it doesn't serve a correct purpose. Instead, it's actually allowing possibly for non-licensed operators to take a bit of the market.
We basically focused a lot on the esports side, and we took the opportunity. Every crisis is an opportunity, and just made our esports product that much stronger. We also did start the focus on the casino, and did some last minute things for the virtual side.
And what we saw during March period, the first the lockdown, it's a really increase on the registrations. We saw a large number of customers looking for different alternatives, customers that they never played online before. And we also realized that land-based customers, they look for the same products online.
Just recently, we ran a small survey just to check a little bit on, what will it look like, because we could clearly see the trend. Speaking about our main market, Greece, where we had an incoming once the lockdown was for the retail industry. We had an increase in older age group, so an older demographic that was what we suspected the retail players, basically coming from the retail industry. And we could see them coming online, and now we just ran the research to check how many of those had actually been online before, and was like 70% of them had never been online before.
Regulation is introduced based on sentiment rather than fact in many cases, and we can't overlook the political aspect of anything that's being introduced. But ultimately, particularly in a highly compliant market like the UK, we need to be operating within the regulations that our operators are bound by. And so ultimately, aligning affiliate licensing and regulation with the operator, affiliate regulation and licensing is not such a big deal. We're already doing that. We need to protect the interests of our operator partners in everything that we do.
I do see a lot of, especially the smaller affiliates, not self-regulating, creating an unfair sort of advantage there. However, when it comes to regulating affiliates overall, I would need to sort of go into detail and see how that would look like, how it would be enforced and so on. So we would avoid having the classical situation where the nice guys finish last when it comes to being overly compliant, and having others not care and create an unfair advantage there.
The landscape has changed a lot in how many games are coming out, and already, let's say 6 years ago, there were a lot of games, but nowadays if you release one games and casinos have a lobby of 3,000 games, it's going to be very hard to stand out, right? And before you prove your game to be the most popular, the most successful game, for companies to just bet on that is also quite a big ask.
Having your own RGS brought in a perception of larger independence, and that's true. You can do direct integrations with operators, you can do multiple aggregator integrations, but as there's a huge volume of content and more price pressure and ROI pressure, having your own platform and RGS these days can actually be a hindrance, because as we rightly pointed out, there's far more regulated market pressures, far more compliance, maintenance, and OPEX costs. So there's benefits and negatives to having your own RGS.
I consider Revolut as part of the prepaid option. Before the ban was established by the Commission, similar suggestion, which we actually applied through the PSP. So far, the communication with the PSPs, for example, in terms of the e-wallets, every e-wallet will work in a different way. Some of the e-wallets will decide defining wallets that were already classifying the funds that were used for gambling.
Yeah, well, I think we're going to see that happen here in the UK with the forthcoming government review of the gambling legislation here. A variety of reasons, not least because there is one all-party group of members of parliament, and their special interest is in relation to gambling-related harm. And they have recently said gambling with other forms of credit, such as loans and overdrafts, should also be prohibited.
And I think that is a really big problem, because, you know, the whole topic of this panel is around payment methods and stopping harm through certain payment methods. And I don't think the gambling industry can do that alone. They have to have the help of the financial services industry.
Personal opinion, innovation is not only about creating or developing something totally new or unique, but it might be also a different and innovative approach to something what is old and already accepted in the industry. So, for example, combination of different things or different games or different verticals even.
You don't need to be a truly crazy innovator to innovate. And actually, learning from the mistakes from the past, I would say that small innovation, player-focused, with iterations, seem to me, with my experience now, to be much more productive than breakthrough innovation, at least let's say less risky. The breakthrough innovation, of course, you can make a difference, but there's one chance out of 100, let's say.
Innovation is more of a relative concept than an absolute concept. After all, we're in business, we're not scientists. So what's important for me is that as a company, if you want to have long-term success in the business, you've got to have a strategy where you differentiate yourself from the competitors. And so what you do differently, which for me is innovation, is you know, it can be in the business model, it can be in particular aspects of tech, but in general, it has to be, you know, within a system. There has to be a value proposition to your market that's different from your competitors, and you've got to have a delivery system for that works in a consistent way. So it can't just be based on one great idea or one killer application.
The reason for that being, it is a total gambling market, if you include pachinko and amusement games, of 38 billion. Only a small portion of that is in casino, about 300 million. Casino growing quickly online though, at a 15% compound growth rate. So they sort of hit that sweet spot where it is really digitally transforming.
There's the question how to attract users and also how to retain them. And a big factor of that is, does your website differentiate itself from the other, because some brands have been localized into Japanese. And one of the things that I've noticed is even the best of them have things that they can do better.
I am scanning through Japanese language websites and to find various sort of banner ads and other sorts of things that appear to be advertising various online gaming and gambling sites is becoming an increasingly common sort of thing.
Just about to add to the fact, as mentioned before by John, I believe, the fact that the concept of instant play is based on several different things. You know, like it includes account registration, it includes an instant payment, it includes instant access to the casino, right? So there are sort of several pillars that makes this experience an instant play.
Open banking can help make our lives easier as operators, but it sounds like there are a few technology barriers that need to sort of be crossed to get there.
When it comes to registration and depositing, we've seen a very kind of direct relation in that the performance is much better when you are actually linking the payment to the registration step. And that is because you are actually getting the end user to commit. In other words, there's always kind of been a battle from visitors turning into registering customers to actually becoming depositing.
We quite often make this association with responsible gaming and VIPs, and I think that what's important to understand is that responsible gaming is all relative. I mean, we can't use absolute stakes to talk about whether somebody has a problem in gaming.
There's huge opportunity out there, and that obviously depends on the type of business, so the mix of business and the strategic direction that the business wants to take. It depends on the market. So if we take Spain, for example, it's quite established, but only live roulette is available as a product for now. So hopefully when the other products become available, that category will grow.
I totally agree that the variety of products and innovation overall has attracted more players into the live vertical. Also, as the game providers have been looking more into offering more customized products for different markets. But it's also the trend overall in society and how the millennials and the new habits are impacting the behavior. And here I'm referring to the migration from land-based to online. And we've noticed this in retail, for example, in the past 10 years.
Penetration rate of the mobile phone is over 100%. That means that there are more mobile phones than inhabitants in Morocco. And it's something that we really see as an opportunity, in order to create, despite the fact that there can be some social distancing, etc., to recreate some environments where the players can meet and exchange their views on, and hopefully we can see that already on our social media pages.
For example, here in Finland, Norway, similar situation where we have 50% of our business coming from digital channels, and most of that via mobile. So of course it helped us a lot during COVID-19 time, because we could continue our business during that time. If I think about, for example, Spain, where lotteries had to stop whole operations because the share of digital business was so small.
The biggest challenge is, of course, the differences in the regulations among the different countries. I mean, it would be a dream to have a one European Union standard, for instance, or a world standard, but that will probably not ever happen, and it hasn't happened so far.
I think the biggest problem that suppliers face, especially when operating in multiple jurisdictions, is not integrating technical compliance, both product compliance and for example, change management within the earlier phase of development. So, I mean, roadblocks, the main roadblocks that happen, the typical things that happen with any of our clients, they will come to us thinking they'll have a product ready to go live, but then they can't go live because they've missed a whole chunk of things. Like, for example, I don't know, they missed the fact that they needed to have a critical asset registry to enter the Danish market.